Hi, this is Les and Amy from the RevGenetics podcast. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube and now on Spotify, where we do a deep dive on supplements and longevity studies.
Yeah, and today we are looking at an extreme survival plant called the mangrove apple and how its natural armor might honestly be the future of anti-aging.
So jumping right in, I want you to imagine a plant that lives half underwater in salty swamp mud.
And not just any mud, we are talking about boiling heat and, crushing ocean tides.
Right, it sounds completely miserable. And the crazy thing is, a tree cannot just get up and walk into the shade.
No,
Right?
it is totally stuck. It cannot run, it cannot hide.
Exactly. So to survive all that stress, it basically acts as a microscopic chemical factory. It pumps out this incredible array of natural defenses.
Which is essentially just combat training for the plant. The harsher the swamp, the tougher the chemical armor needs to be to keep it from dying.
Right. And today's deep dive is all about cracking open that factory to see what is inside. The scientists were looking at a specific plant called the mangrove apple.
Yeah, and they specifically studied the ones growing in the Maldives, which is actually super important.
I was going to ask about that. Like, does the location really change the plant's internal chemistry? I mean, a mangrove is a mangrove, right?
You would totally think so, but no, the location changes everything. The Maldives has these really unique, closed-off marsh habitats.
Okay, so the dirt and the water are different.
Exactly. The soil has specific minerals, the tides are different, and there are completely different bugs trying to eat the plant.
Ah, so the plant has to invent brand new chemical weapons just to survive that exact local swamp.
You got it. It is entirely custom armor. But the really tricky part for the scientists was figuring out how to get that armor out of the tough leaves and roots.
Right, without destroying it in the process.
Yeah.
I imagine it is a lot like brewing a high-end specialty coffee.
Oh, that is a great way to put it.
Yeah, because if you use the wrong water temperature or the wrong brewing method, you just pull out the bitter oils and you leave the best flavors locked inside the bean.
Exactly like that. So the researchers tested 3 different liquids to see what worked best. They tried pure water, pure alcohol, and a 50-50 mix of both.
But wait, if water is totally natural, why not just use pure water? Why add alcohol to the mix?
Well, because a lot of the plant's most powerful armor is actually waterproof. It naturally repels water.
Oh, I see. So if you only use water, all the really strong defense chemicals just stay stuck inside the leaf.
Precisely. By mixing water and alcohol, they cast the widest net possible. The water pulls out the water-loving chemicals, and the alcohol grabs the waterproof ones.
That is so clever. And alcohol is super safe too, right? Like, it is a very clean, green way to extract things.
Yeah, it is a very low toxicity choice. And the crazy thing is, it worked incredibly well. They found 45 different protective compounds inside the plant.
45. That is a massive arsenal.
It really is. Up in the leaves, they found these special compounds that act like high-tech biological sun shields.
Like built-in sunscreen to block the intense sun rays.
Exactly, to protect the plant's core instructions from getting fried by the sun. But the coolest discovery was actually down in the mud.
Oh yeah, the roots.
Right, because the mud is full of this toxic, nasty sulfate. So the plant actually takes that poison, modifies it, and wears it like acid-resistant boots.
Wait, it weaponizes the toxic swamp against itself?
Yes. And on top of that, it pumps the roots full of these compounds that make them highly bitter and dry.
Oh, like when you bite into a really green, unripe banana and your mouth gets all dry?
Exactly that feeling. It makes the roots so nasty and tough that the swamp bugs and worms just will not eat them.
So it is basically built-in bug spray, sunscreen on top, acid boots on the bottom, and bug spray everywhere. That is just brilliant.
It really shows how adaptable nature is when it's pushed to the limit.
Thanks to RevGenetics, we get to unpack today's new research.
They have such a great long-term focus on evidence-based natural compounds for aging research, like they're really advanced resveratrol supplements.
Which is a perfect fit because learning how nature creates these powerful defenses is exactly what helps us discover the best health routines.
Totally.
Okay, so we know this mangrove apple is basically a walking fortress of armor.
Right.
But how does that actually perform when you test it against the stuff that causes human aging and disease?
Well, that is where things get really exciting. The researchers put these plant extracts up against unstable molecules in the lab.
And we should probably remind everyone what an unstable molecule is just in case.
Yeah, so an unstable molecule is basically a microscopic thief. It runs around your body, violently ripping pieces away from your healthy cells.
Which is what causes damage and aging. It is the exact same process that makes a sliced apple turn brown on the counter.
Or a piece of iron turning into rust, yeah. And antioxidants are the heroes. They neutralize those thieves before they can cause the rust.
Got it. So they ran this swamp armor through some really intense antioxidant tests.
They did. They actually ran 3 totally different tests, just to be sure.
Why 3?
Because these microscopic thieves come in lots of different shapes and sizes, you want to know if the plant can fight off a bunch of different threats, not just one lucky one.
Ah, that makes sense. You want a multi-tool, not just a single wrench.
Exactly. And they measured the results using a score that is basically like a golf score.
Meaning, the lower the number, the better the performance.
Exactly. A lower number means you only need a tiny, tiny drop of the plant extract to wipe out half of the thieves.
Whereas a high number means you need to dump a whole bucket of it in there to do the same job.
You got it. So for the baseline, they used pure vitamin C.
Which is, a total powerhouse. Is the gold standard for neutralizing damage.
Right. And pure vitamin C scored a 72 on this test, which is great.
Okay, 72. So how did the mangrove apple do?
The leaf extract scored a 53, and the root extract scored a 50.
Wait, really? It beat pure vitamin C.
It completely outperformed it. It needed significantly less liquid to wipe out the exact same amount of cellular damage.
That is absolutely staggering. Both the leaves and the roots just crush the gold standard.
Yeah, because of all those natural sunscreens and bug sprays we talked about earlier, they translate directly into raw thief-fighting power.
I mean, I have to play skeptic for a second, though.
Go for it.
We are talking about a test tube here,
Yeah.
all right? Just because it beats vitamin C in a glass dish, does that guarantee it'll work the same way inside the human body?
No, it definitely does not, and that is a really crucial point to make.
Because the human body is chaotic.
Highly chaotic. If you take a supplement made of this extract, it has to survive the brutal acid in your stomach first.
Right, and then it has to get through your gut wall, into your bloodstream, and actually reach your cells.
Exactly. A lot of miracle compounds look great in a Petri dish, but then your liver just flags them as junk and flushes them right out.
So there is still a long way to go before this is a guaranteed anti-aging cure.
Definitely. This study is just the foundational map. The next steps are testing it in living models to see if it actually reduces inflammation or, improves skin health in real life.
But even with those hurdles, you can see why the cosmetic and supplement industries are so excited about this.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants highly potent, green, natural ingredients right now.
Because nature has already done millions of years of the hard research for us. We just have to know how to unlock it.
But that actually brings up a really scary vulnerability.
What do you mean?
Well, the only reason this plant makes such powerful medicine is because of the extreme, harsh mud of the Maldives.
Oh, I see where you're going. If those swamps disappear.
Exactly. Coastal mangroves are under massive threat right now from climate change and human development.
So if we pave over those unique swamps, the evolutionary pressure vanishes.
And the pharmacy of the future vanishes with it before we even get a chance to catalog it.
Wow. That is a terrifying thought to end on, but so important to remember. We have to protect the swamps if we want the medicine. We hope you enjoyed uncovering today's study with us, and we'll see you next episode.
Thank you for listening to the RevGenetics podcast.
RevGenetics.com for the best longevity supplements on Earth.